In 1981, a man called Jack Welch stood up in a hotel in New York and gave the speech that basically invented modern business. Cut costs, chase growth, serve the shareholder above all else. For 20 years, it worked spectacularly well. And then, in 2009, the same man looked back at what he'd built and said, and this is a direct quote, "Shareholder value is the dumbest idea in the world." The man who wrote the book on best business practice spent his entire retirement disowning it. So here's the question worth sitting with. Welch didn't lack intelligence. He didn't lack conviction. He had both in industrial quantities. What he also had was a boundary, a line drawn around a business that said everything inside this line is your responsibility. Everything outside it isn't. And for 20 years, that boundary made him look like a genius because inside the line, the numbers were amazing. It's only what was happening outside the line that eventually caught up with the whole idea. That's the shift I want to talk about today. Not from bad leadership to good leadership, but from a narrow boundary to a wide one. From did we hit the number to who, anywhere in this system, inside or outside the business, is quietly paying for the numbers we hit. Now, I'd love to tell you the fix for this is obvious. It isn't. Let's be honest. Most leaders who redraw that boundary don't do it because someone showed them a spreadsheet. They do it because something hits them hard, right in the gut. Take Ray Anderson, billion-dollar carpet company, thoroughly conventional, thoroughly profitable, thoroughly inside the business boundary line. Then, in 1994, completely by accident, a book landed on his desk, The Ecology of Commerce by Paul Hawken. He said reading it felt like a spear in the chest. He stood in front of his own staff and called himself a plunderer of the earth. Then he did something almost no one in position does. He redrew the boundary. From that moment on, zero waste, zero emissions, zero harm. He called it Mission Zero. Here's the bit that might really annoy the finance department. Over the years that followed, Interface cut its emission by 82%. They cut fossil fuel use by 60%. They cut waste by 2/3 and water use dropped by 3/4. And profit margins, they went up. Not despite the wider boundary, but because of it. Turns out everything outside the old line was just waste that nobody had bothered to measure. So if that's true, and it is, you'd think every leader would be doing the same. But they're not. And I think I know why. Ray Anderson got lucky. A book fell on his desk at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right stage of his life. You can't build a strategy around waiting for that to happen to you. What you can do is ask the question on purpose instead of by accident. Not did we hit the number, but at every scale, from individual decision in this room all the way out to the planetary boundaries. Who is really paying for what we've decided not to count? Here's the uncomfortable version of the question, and I'd like you to actually sit with it rather than just nod past it. Not, did we hit the number this year, but how do you want to go down in history? How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to earn your kids' respect? Because Welch answered that question too. He just answered it in 2009, looking backwards from the outside in. Ray Anderson got to the answer in 1994, with his company still his, with the boundaries still movable, 26 years still ahead of him to prove it wasn't naive. You don't get to choose whether that question gets asked or not. Every leader has to answer it eventually. The only thing you actually control is whether you're the one asking the question or whether it's about you after it's too late to matter.